What happens when you abandon the most dominant car in a league for an unproven wildcard and end up rewriting the record books?
We are back for another season in the TCRs, but this time it's a new chairman, Joseph Wright himself, and he's brought a lot of talent with him. We were unsure whether we were going to race again. Things were very stale last year, despite finishing second in the championship. In previous seasons, the Honda was our faithful dominant weapon for us and for the grid. We wanted a challenge, we wanted a change, and boy did we get one. Welcome to the JW BTCS recap season. And here's our car of choice, and what a beauty. The first round of the season saw us head to Kent at Brands Hatch for the Indy layout, a track that when it's raining is extremely slippery and there is no space for errors. We were here for a fun time, not a competitive time. Race 1 we started from P2 on the grid and we got away superbly and managed to drive right around the outside of Matt before T1, and from there we managed to control the pace. Race 1 and Race 2 were carbon copies, two comfortable P1 finishes. All of a sudden we were looking really competitive. So race 3, the top 15 were reversed, so we were starting all the way back in 15th and we got away super well, round the outside up into the 6th place, and then another move on Pavel and we were up to 5th, chasing Vila down until...
Oh shit.
I really hope nobody saw that.
And now we locked in.
Okay Lewis, it's hammer time.
And we are back in the fight for P2 and the lead. We send it up the inside on Pavel into Druids. He keeps with us on the outside and we fight too wide down into Graham Hill Bend. But we managed to just slip past through Surtees, and now we set our sights on Janus and make a move into the penultimate corner alongside, and we get through nice and easily and we are up into first place. And just like that, 3 races, 3 wins, and next up is Silverstone. We weren't sure whether we were going to have the pace for pole, whether last week's efforts were just luck, but somehow we managed to steal it, and that put us at the front for the start of race 1. And with that, race 1 and race 2 couldn't have gone any better. We were clean, calm, collected, and took 2 more victories, extending our lead in the championship.
Another one. Another one.
Race 3, another reverse grid, so we're starting back in 15th yet again, and we managed to keep it out of trouble on the opening lap until Matt Neal just misjudges his braking point. And we nearly make contact, but luckily avoid it. We lost a bunch of time and positions and end up P4 on the final lap, just a couple of tenths behind James. We managed to get the run out of the final corner. It's a drag race to the line, and unfortunately the hat-trick just slipped away. But another podium-heavy weekend meant we left Silverstone with the championship firmly under our control. On paper, Thruxton should have been our toughest weekend. Thruxton is a track that really suits the Honda perfectly, and we knew the Audi would be on the back foot from the start. We weren't expecting anything spectacular, but motorsport has a habit of proving you wrong. We completely compromised qualifying and only had one chance to get the job done. Somehow it was enough for second on the grid, with just a 10th covering the first 2 rows. We spent the opening laps of the first race just trying to stop Bachelor escaping, trying to make a move wherever we could, but the chance finally came up when he got a slowdown through the final chicane. We ended up battling Dan Mould, and this allowed Bachelor to catch back up and take second place, and that's where we ended, P1 and P2. Race 2 couldn't have gone much better either. The launch was perfect, we got a really good start.
I'm gone, I've legged it.
And we stayed out front and nobody could stay with us. Another race win. In between the 2 races, the weather turned. We gambled on slicks, Bachelor committed to the wets. The gamble looked risky at first, but as the circuit dried, the slicks came to life. Every lap the grip improved. One by one the cars fell away, and with a run through church we completed the final overtake to win the race. Against all expectations, it was our 8th victory from the opening 9 races. We arrived at Thruxton expecting damage limitation. Instead we left with 3 wins and our biggest statement of the season so far. Knock Hill is weekend number 4 and is unlike any other circuit on the calendar. Short, narrow and unpredictable, and with this Scottish weather, anything can happen. The rain between qualifying and race 1 completely changed the conditions, however, so we opted for the wets, and that was the right choice because we nailed the start, controlled the race from the very first corner and managed to take the win. Race 2 we were hoping for a similar story, however we made one tiny mistake and that was all Pavel needed. We fought back for a full lap, but this time second place was the best we could manage. The first time we have been beaten in race 2, which I think is a pretty strong stat. The start for race 3 couldn't have gone much worse. We laid a fat set of 11s, but sometimes that's exactly what keeps you out of trouble. We managed to pick our way through the chaos in turn 1 and made the overtakes when they counted, and a little bit of fortune at the end turned 3rd into 2nd. Knock Hill wasn't a perfect weekend, but a still strong suit of points. Pole position, a wet weather victory and a couple of P2s, not too bad. As the season reached its halfway point, the championship momentum was firmly on our side. Donington was the first time an Alfa Corsa didn't lead the grid into race 1. We spent the opening phase right behind Pavel, applying pressure but waiting for the right moment, set up the switchback and finally made it stick into the final chicane. From there it was all about control and we took another race victory.
Hello there.
With race 2 we got away well, and once we hit the front it became straightforward. No pressure from behind, just clean laps and controlled the pace. Another win added to the tally. Race 3 we kept it sensible through the opening laps, but the race quickly changed. What started as survival became damage limitation after the contact. We were going to have to fight to get back into the points and fight hard, but we kept pushing and picked off what we could. Some major trip ups in the final lap allowed us to move all the way up to P7, but it was a lot harder than what it looked. Snetterton, our local racetrack, suited to the Audi perfectly. The goal was simple: qualify well and control the weekend from the front, and we did exactly that, putting 0.5 seconds between us and Matt and 0.8 between our rival Pavel. We didn't get the cleanest launch, but we didn't need perfection as we had the inside into T1. Matt gave us plenty of space, and once we settled into the rhythm, the gap just built and built and built, and another win secured. With race 2 going much the same way, we had to get more defensive from Matt as we knew he would attack early, but once we defended, we pulled away well and took another victory. Race 3, we tried to avoid the chaos from last weekend, but unfortunately we were in the wrong place at the wrong time and we lost our front bumper, just like we did in season 1.
Flashback.
was able to go back-to-back here and take the back-to-back race winner. And it will be only the second.
End of flashback.
The damage completely changed the race. We lost aero efficiency and straight line speed, so it became a fight just to stay in the points. But even with a compromised car, we kept moving forward and salvaged a solid result. Oulton Park is a track that I've always struggled at, and it was made more difficult by the rain. The track was drying but not enough for slicks. We knew our final lap would probably be our only chance in qualifying, and somehow we found just enough time to snatch pole by 2/100ths of a second. No more rain fell in between qualifying and race 1, so race 1 we opted to hop onto the slicks. We knew the slicks would come alive once they had temperature, so letting James through was part of our plan. Unfortunately, when we made our move back, we squeezed him a little too much and sent him into the barrier. That allowed Roman back into the fight, and when we caught traffic, he didn't need asking twice. We managed to save the spin, but second was the best we could recover. Race 2, we were fired up. We got an incredible launch when compared to Roman, which put us back in the lead, and from there it was simply about hitting every apex and not giving Roman another opportunity. We managed 8 out of the 15 laps within 8/100ths of a second. That is some consistency. Race 3 didn't go so well, but on the outside there was some contact which spat a car across the track in front of us.
What the fuck?
What the? Oh my word! That is the biggest wreck I've ever seen!
The damage meant taking the tow back to the pit lane and using our fast repair, leaving us outside the points for the first time. It wasn't the ending we wanted, but with Pavel absent once again, the maths became simple. We only needed 18 points to finally secure the championship. Roman gave us the perfect tow in qualifying, and with tyre degradation high at this track, we knew we had to get our lap in early, and that's exactly what we did, sticking it on the front row of the grid. Half the job was done, now we just needed a clean race. It's lights out, and from that moment, the only job was to not make a mistake. Crossing the line didn't just win another race, it secured our first BTCS Championship.
Come on!
But Thomas Brown is going to do it. He's going to win for the 15th time this season. Thomas Brown is your champion of season number 3.
And we had finally done it. After 3 seasons of trying, we had finally won the championship, and we had done it in dominant style. With all the pressure gone, for the remaining races we could simply enjoy the racing, and with that we added another win to the tally. The reverse grid brought the usual chaos, but after all the incidents, we climbed back up to 4th to round out another outstanding weekend.
Thomas Brown is your season 3 champion.
So even though we won the championship, we decided to race at Silverstone National. It was a good job we did, because we ended up putting it on pole and winning all 3 races, so can't really complain. When we swapped to the Audi before the season, we weren't choosing the easy path, we were choosing a challenge really, and it ended up being the most memorable season. We scored 19 wins out of a possible 27, so that's 70% win percentage, and we were on the podium 81% of the time, which is a pretty good stat. Huge shout out to Joseph for hosting and for streaming. You can get all of his links in the description. If you want to race next season, you can check the description as well for the Discord. Thank you everyone for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next season.